Aloha, and welcome to Aquarian Radio. I'm your host, Lessin, and we have with us today Sean Fowler and Eric Mitchell, and we're going to do a roundtable discussion and talking just about everything paranormal and extraterrestrial and secret space program and all our favorite topics. So anyway, I'm going to let each person introduce themselves, but I'm your host, Lessin, and you've been listening to me for years, so you know who I am. I have a bio and other information on aquarianradio.com. Feel free to go over there and learn more about us and our pictures and all kinds of stuff like that. So I'm going to start first with Eric Mitchell. Eric, say hello and just 2 or 3 sentences about yourself. And then we'll have Sean, and then we'll just start our round table. Okay, aloha, Eric.
Hey, guys. Name's Eric Mitchell. I was a skeptic of everything just a short few, I think 6 years ago. Became an experiencer very, very quickly. Got a case with MUFON that stretches 6 years long, and in the meantime, I've been working with experiencers that have a lot of trouble dealing with the concept. I guess that would go to Sean, right?
Hello?
I think we lost her.
More strange things. High strangeness. Hello?
I'm here. I think we'll need to go ahead and hang up and call back into the show, man.
All right.
All right, bye.
Okay.
Hey.
Exciting. Hey, I got...
Yeah, real exciting.
I'm running this show, and I got booted off. Anyway, we're back. Okay, Sean, if this happens again, I will call you from the back end of the show, or you can call in 646-649-0893. Okay, so Sean, you were talking before we got kicked out into space. Go ahead, Sean. What were you saying before?
My name is Sean Fowler. I am also an ET contactee, experiencer myself. Back in 2014, I woke up, and the gentleman that's on the radio show with us tonight, Eric Mitchell, I consider not only my, starting investigator, but a really close friend, and has helped me tremendously. And I woke up to this stuff, and I didn't know it. I was questioning it. I was, waking up with weird marks. Weird things were taking place that I didn't know of. And I had no clue that this stuff was going on. And then I started having these memories. And it's still a rough road. That's all I got to say, This road is a road that never ends. continuous.
Yes, it is. Well, we're going to talk about the road less traveled. So we're going to start with Eric. He's going to ask our first question. He asked about the animal crackers, but we're not going to answer that one. But go ahead, Eric.
I can never get a straight answer out of anybody. I think it's conspiratorial, it's wrong, and the libraries do not offer any help there. Ask the first question. My gosh. Janet, what got you into this?
Oh, I'm a lifelong experiencer. I've been having contact since, I basically have tracked it back since before the crib. I decided to come into this mess and try to unravel this in time for whatever's going to come down the line. So my earliest memories are in the crib. I had contact when I was, born, but the very first really major episode was one night I was visited by, just thousands of individual, no two were like beings, and they kept coming up front and center and looking at me. I was in the crib. My mother kept me in the crib for a long time. So I imagine it's between a year and 18 months. And, but, kids don't know time, so I don't have a clock reference for that. But they said goodbye to me. And one after the other, they were all my friends. I knew them on an eternal soul level. They said goodbye. And then they said, well, it's time to go be human. And there was this loud thunder crack. And then I couldn't talk. I was talking at a level way beyond my age, which was freaking out my mother. And my mother thought she'd given birth to the demon seed. So after that, it was kind of like they were slowing me down so she wouldn't have to kill me. And then I was just talking baby talk and gobbledygook. And I had memories for a while. Then they started to fade because, in order to really enjoy the human experience, you have to immerse yourself in the process. So we agree on some level to come in and go unconscious. So anyway, that was my first memory, like of a really major episode. I had smaller things before that, but that was my first full-on memory of. And it was it hurt. It was very painful, but you get used to being where you are. So there you are. Okay. Do you want to ask that of? Go ahead. You asked the question. Go ahead. Eric asked the question of Sean.
Oh gosh. Well, I think we heard what Sean had to say. Back in 2014, he was looking for somebody to talk to, and fortunately found me, somebody that was used to dealing with these kinds of things. And you really don't get professional level at it. But gosh, I don't know what question to ask. I'm just kind of baffled on your answer because it's just incredible, because I've had a lot of questions about what you spoke about. Do we actually agree to do this and to come here to create the changes that we deem necessary, and especially being guided through contact and also, the good, the bad, and the ugly that we deal with. If that makes any sense. We can deconstruct that a little bit in everybody's opinion, but since you asked it, I'll give feedback on that. I work with a lot of experiencers as well, and I think that eventually you can reach to the contract level. When you agreed to come in, what you agreed to do. When you realize that you're not a victim, that you did this intentionally, it's kind of like you're going into a virtual reality game, right? And you pick the characters, and I'm going to be the elf, and I'm going to be the monster, and I'm going to be the hero, and you decide what role you're going to play. And then, it is about the journey, it is about the adventure, but you do have a goal, and my goal that I've uncovered in my mission is, creating this state of basically peace, because we're involved in ongoing wars in this world here that we know, and the universe, and I'm bored of the wars, so I'm hoping to guide us into a more kind and loving existence. So that's my ongoing mission. I know that a lot of people hate that. They go, oh, she's so new age, so woo-woo. But I'm sorry, that's who I am. I'm going to be who I am. I'm new age, woo-woo. Yeah.
But I'm here to bring about the dawn of the golden age of Aquarius. But I guess I'll ask the question. go back in time in our little personal time machine and remote view yourself and your earliest experience and your earliest memories, and just do that here now. And whoever's got some kind of insight into your mission and why you came here, go ahead and speak up, and then we'll get to all of us. But Sean, do you remember why you were here? Or Eric, do you remember why you came here? Even make it up. Just make it up, because you can't really make it up. You're going to be accessing it because there's no up to make it from. It's all is. Yeah, go ahead.
I think for myself, it's been a lot of lessons. It's been extremely, extremely hard and painful. When life takes a course for you, when nature itself seems to, as the Chinese would call, ziqiang, that which is of itself, to blossom into what you truly are instead of what you've been struggling to be your whole life. So I think for me, in my later years, I've discovered that, liberating experiencers, letting them know that they're not alone, letting them know that you do make a difference. Please don't be a victim. You've got to get off your butt. It's hard sometimes. I know you live a duality of the life that your family wants, the life that your career wants, but you do have your heart, you do have your soul, you do have your purpose. And the poor little me is an absolute illusion of selfishness, because beyond I is more we than anything you could possibly imagine. And we are here for a purpose. I've seen life put things in front of me and smile and wink and walk away like, here's your next one. See if you can hurdle this. See if you can take on that. And, it's almost like the Truman Show just turns on for you. It's like, yeah. And you've got to thicken your skin. You've got to strengthen your heart. A lot of people think a big heart is weakness. And I look at these people and go, wow, you don't get the life hurdle thing, do you? I get that, but I don't guess you do. But having a loving heart, having a big heart, knowing how to love no matter how many times you get torn into pieces is a strength. It is the absolution of truth. It's a torch that carries through all the water that could be on this planet. And, it's tough. When a lot of people close up, they forget their purpose. They forget what their heart means. They forget what nature means. They forget they're a part of nature. And they get sucked into this misanthropic idea of reality instead of human decency and the difference between humanity and humanity's conditioning.
Well said. Are you complete? I guess we should say finished or passing the talking stick when we're done, so we don't interrupt each other. But
sure,
said. I applaud that.
No,
yeah.
I was just doing my best to avoid the next question. I'm kidding, but
I know. Welcome the next person. Yes.
I'm going to the back of the class. This is, it's too much.
Oh no, you're great. You're great. You're great. Own it. Yeah.
I am, and that's the thing. The more we come into our own, the stronger we become, and we need to get rid of the illusions of this is what I want about my life, and that is what I want about my life. And Janet, I think you're 100% correct. Maybe 5-6 years ago, I would have totally disagreed with you, but it's a very, very, very important aspect. I sat in my yard this summer, and I grew some beautiful tomato plants and jalapenos and everything like that. And I actually got worried about them, when the storm would come through and blow them over. I'd run out like they're little babies, and fix them. I'm like, I'm a 40-year-old man. Guys are going to start making fun of me. You know what I mean? But, to understand the process that we go through as human beings, there are storms that knock us over and rock us back and forth. And the rocking process of that wind, it strengthens the stalk of that plant. It does look terrible. It does look horrible. to see that poor little thing get tossed around. But when it's strong enough to stand on its own, when it's strong enough to be itself, you know, you don't see a flower, you know, a tulip running around going, I'm going to be an oak tree someday. We're the only species on this planet that have amnesia about who we are. Every other species on this planet does not want to be anything other than itself. And when you look into the depths of that, it's just incredible. It's lost, L-O-S-T. But when you find your path and you find your passion and you find something that your heart completely belongs to, then I think that even on accident, you can make the biggest of differences.
I agree. Yeah, so, you know, you can be the best you that you are, right? And that's what our
right.
culture is conditioned. We need to look like the model on the magazine. We need to, and it's like, no, I'm who I am. No, I don't look like the model in the magazine. But you know, I'm lovable the way I am, and you're lovable, and we all have value and meaning and purpose and worth. And
I was just before the show, I was talking to Sean. He said, "Hey, let's talk about debunkers a little bit." And I think that was a good idea for him to bring up, because if you are yourself, if you are truly you, and you have faults, you're tripping in life like a baby trying to learn how to walk. It doesn't matter what age you are. And you have people say, what you are makes me feel uncomfortable. What you observed makes me feel very uncomfortable. So therefore, I'm going to come at you with anger. I'm going to come at you with negativity. You're not as smart as me, or you're not as beautiful as I am, or you're not as handsome as I am, so I'm going to judge you. I'm going to look that way. In no part of nature on this planet does that happen, you know, other than human beings. And I think it's, you know, people ask me all the time, it's like, wow, Eric, you know, how do you deal with these people so well? And it's like, well, because they don't know how to deal with themselves, so you just kind of help them along a little bit, if that makes any sense.
Great. that does. So, Sean, you've been quiet. Your turn. We're going to pass the talking stick to you.
Oh,
ahead,
yeah.
whatever you want to
well,
say.
You know,
see,
whatever. Well, see, Eric, we were talking about debunkers. The problem with debunkers are, right, and, you know, they make themselves look so obvious. It's like I was talking to Eric about this, right, and it makes total sense. First of all, you don't wake up with me in the morning if you're, like, in California and follow me into the bathroom and see what kind of marks I wake up with. Oh, these are bug bites. Oh, this is that. Oh, that's that. You send these ufologist pictures. They turn around, and I've sent them to several, and they debunk right away. They don't do no research. They don't look into it. They are not heart-centered. I find that this whole thing has become a huge money pot. You know, there's a lot of money involved in this, and it's sad. There's a lot of lies involved in this, and it's sad. And a lot of people are being led by disinformation. And back in 2014, I couldn't get 2 words, let alone a full sentence together. And now I'm starting to see the bigger picture. I can't allow these other people. And the funny thing is, the other people to, you know, bother me, you know. The funny thing is, though, is there's got to be somewhere in your mind, if you want to follow me or listen to me. But if you call me fake, why are you listening to me? You know? They question that all the time. So if I'm fake, then don't listen to me. Go play tennis. Go play basketball. Go hang out with your girlfriend. Don't jump on the radio and start debunking me just because. You know?
So
and that's what chases people away. That's what makes people put a gun in their mouth and pull the trigger, because you got these high-endy people that, you know, say that they'll help, but their words mean nothing. action means action. And the man, and Eric Mitchell is a man of his word. He came here. He said he was coming here, and he came. And you know what? A lot of people would say, "Oh yeah, I'm coming. I'm going to help you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that," and not a thing. Just can you PayPal right at my, PayPal you right away. Feed you a bunch of evidence.
Eric came.
Feed you a bunch of stuff that's a lie. Charge you $100 for a file that is a video game file from a Halo game or some other type of video game, and drag somebody who's waking up and trying to figure out the truth, his own truth, into an illusion. And the rest of the stuff that's being said is just total. It disgusts me. It really, my stomach turns when I see some of these people. And then when you try to contact them and speak to them, they're too big, and we can't talk to you. Talk to my secretary. Set up an appointment. No, I'm not going to do that. No, thank you.
So let me ask you a question, Sean. What do you think is behind that? And I've noticed this in the UFO field. There's a lot of, I want to call it, and always projection is something, but labeling something, but I'll just say it because I don't have any other word of saying it. It seems like there's a lot of competition. Maybe it's jealousy. Maybe it's about the money. Maybe it's just about being famous or selling books or getting the contracts to do the conferences or whatever.
It all boils down.
Eric,
it all boils down to, if you're not in your heart, none of your chakras are open. None of your chakras are open. And a lot of these people are not heart-centered, who get on radio and get in these conferences and get flown all over the world, and you see pictures of them eating in these fancy restaurants, and they always got to have a suit and a tie on. No. I get on stage with a T-shirt on that says an experiencer, and you know what? I'm going to give you the truth whether you like it or not. Take whatever you want, and if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's not my problem. My message is, like, Eric's friend said, it's not the aliens, it's the people. That's the problem.
Mhm.
That's the reality of this. It's Mr. Popularity game. This is Mr. Popularity contest. This is all ego. This is people that will literally, go into other people's stories and, start bashing them. I mean, just for the listeners, there's a video out by the name of Beware of Rocco, Fowler, and
oh my God.
Yeah, it's not really funny. It's very disgraceful.
No, it's
and YouTube, I've reported it several times. I mean, people are saying that I'm involved in pornography.
You have arrived. When you have people out there making videos, it's like it's some kind of rite of passage into this field. The same thing happened to us. We started doing this is a good, 10, 12, 15 years ago now. But we started publishing our books on the Anunnaki, maybe close around 10. And we had a whole series of, there was like 2 or 3 of them about how horrible we were. And they eventually do disappear. But you can try to contest them. Were you successful on YouTube in getting them to do anything about it? We were not successful.
A couple months ago, well, no, this is a guy who He has a radio show by the name of, or a channel by the name of The Scariest Movies. The guy totally contradicts himself in the whole video. Tells the whole audience God told him this, and God's, maybe teaching me a lesson because I had a spiritual attack while I was on the radio. But yet you study the paranormal, and you're into these topics, but yet you don't see what you're saying there, And to be totally honest with you, I don't even remember doing a radio show with this individual. I have no memory whatsoever. And then to get on there and say, oh, well, and, and allow all these people, and for the ones who liked it, are pretty ignorant. It goes to show, you got to just, allow, people are going to say what they want to say, and I really don't care anymore. I'm at that point where go ahead and say what you want to say. Debunk me. Do what you want to do. But I'm not going to stop helping people because that's what I'm being taught to do. And that's what I do.
Let me ask Eric a question about this. So, Eric, you've been in this. When did you start being a speaker in the UFO field?
2014.
Okay, so the same year. Have you encountered this phenomenon where people get so upset that they debunk you on a major level? And then I just want to say this before you answer. I want to address that phenomenon where you don't remember, because that we need to talk about that too. But go ahead, tell us how.
Well, have you ever went into a busy gas station and someone's peeing and you're like, oh God, I'm sorry, like that. That's exactly how I come across debunkers, because I don't go looking for them. I don't waste my time, my energy on them at all. The drama game is the drama game. Integrity is a big, major thing when it comes to me. If you don't have decency, if you don't have integrity, have fun. You guys go play your game. The sandbox is outside. Pull each other's hair. Call mommy. Go ahead. Have fun. But if I see that kind of thing or debunkery or whatever, it's accidental. It's not that I'm going to look for it, nor am I going to participate in something that shallow, that adolescent, and that small. You've got to learn to aim for what you're going for in life. I help people. I don't do it for a living. I don't make it for money. I've got paid once, $50 in Las Vegas. There was a sweet old lady that shoved it into my pocket, and you do not take like that. So, if people say I do what I do for money or anything like that, I use my own gas, I pay for my own hotels, I help my own clients, there's no PayPal link going into their messenger. There's none of that. Absolutely none of that. I do what I do out of passion. I do what I do out of what happened to me, just might have happened to me, so I may happen to you. And the whole childish game with complete grown-ups is just daunting to me beyond a reasonable thought. I've heard people try to debunk me, and I think the hilarium in it, the chuckles that I get. I mean, come on, guys, do a better job. I have real flaws. I seriously have real flaws. I can dish some out. I can take notes. I can send them through your messenger. You guys can get those ASAP through me. If you'd like any of my flaws or any of my mistakes, I made some mistakes when I was a teenager. I can let you know all the times I had constipation. I can tell you the times that I missed church, and so on and so forth. There is no perfect human being. Come on, credibility, the clothes you wear, what you look like. Is this not social conditioning, social engineering, social structure that's built around lies instead of understanding
right.
The true meaning of suffering? Do I have to have evidence? Trauma. Trauma is the number one evidence anybody should look for with an intellectual baby spoon in their mouth. Now, am I highly recorded by MUFON and several other people over the last 6 years, and it might be more daunting than anything that's ever been put out there when it comes to the subject, bar none? I think a resounding yes, because I just looked at my case a couple of weeks ago for the first time in 6 years, and there's more evidence, there's more pictures, there are more videos, witness statements, ground trace. You go on and on and on up to things that people really don't want to know about right now and things I don't even talk about. So, yeah, the drama game, it seems like they enjoy themselves. I wish they had their own concession stand with popsicles and all kinds of sweets, and, unfortunately, maybe they don't. But as long as they don't skin a knee, and I hope they're okay, I think everything will be fine on their ballpark. But once you grow up, once you understand spirituality, once you understand that I means we, that acceptance doesn't go through looks or clothing or social stature, or whether you've been trained enough to understand what you're dealing with in life. Like I need a military degree to understand that I'm going through all kinds of hell. I think it's facaded its way into a misanthropic, misidealistic way of seeing anything whatsoever, much less, grass growing in the wrong direction. It's just absolutely jaw-dropping to look at the whole picture, step back a little further, look at it bigger, and go, these are grown-ups. These people profess science. They profess dignity. They profess things with words. But like Sean said earlier, I don't care what people have to say. I'm a show-me person. I want to see it. And so when people tell me they have integrity, but they run around other people's back and point fingers and he said, she said, look, we've got things on television you can watch, and they're entertaining, Young and the Restless, there's drama all over TV. You really don't have to get into real science and the greatest discovery of mankind to kind of muck that up a little bit. You should be doing something else. There's hobbies, crochet, basketball, I don't know, clip your toenails. Some people, should clip their toenails.
I don't think we can really prove anything with this, because the extraterrestrials don't really leave proof. The government doesn't leave proof. They intentionally don't want us to prove it. And so
the government doesn't need my proof. Ufology knows about me. The CIA knows about me. The general public, they haven't been read in, and I don't want to run out and say, hey, look at special me. This happened to me and I have all this knowledge behind me. That's not what it's useful for. And if that's what it's useful for, I don't think it would ever happen to me in the first place. These beings or people or whatever terminology anybody that wants to use are a hell of a lot smarter and a hell of a lot more than we could possibly understand with a 3-pound brain.
Right.
And so, for myself to run out there and go, hey, look at special me, I'm going to do talks and ufology and this and that, 99% of everything I do makes no money, keeps me from sleeping, stresses me out to no end, puts me in tears like you wouldn't believe, and saves and helps families that you wouldn't even dream of. Doctors that patch up your children, I've helped. Lawyers that protect you in the court of law, I have helped. Astronauts, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, I have helped. The beginning, of free organization. These people were my clients. There are scientists that I've helped, not only academically, but emotionally and in every other way. So, yeah, I did these things in silence. Yeah, I lost a lot of sleep. Yeah, I went through a lot of emotional pain. Yeah, I ripped open a lot of things in my heart that needed to be looked at once again, over and over and over again, so I can understand what I am and what this all means for everybody. So it's to see grown people treat this subject this way makes you look at this entire planet and go, Jesus, do we have hope? I mean, but there are grown-ups. and they are silent. And guess what? The world is changing because they're quiet, they're humble, they work hard, they're experiencers. We're everywhere. We've infiltrated science. We've infiltrated education. We've infiltrated medicine. We've infiltrated and cultivated the future on this planet, and no one knows who we are. And that's the way, it should be, as long as these misanthropic grown children want to treat the subject like a circus act.
Well, it's kind of bizarre that they expect you to go through life proving your own life. I mean, we don't have to prove life. It just is, And so these are experiences, and I don't think it's anybody's business to be questioning somebody else's experiences. They are what they are. And so I look at it all therapeutically. I don't sit there and need validation. If someone comes at me with a past life and they think that they were so-and-so in a past life or whatever, I just look at it, well, what relevance does it have to your here and now? How does it help you? Do you know anybody from that past life and that's in your life now? And often we find these threads going through people and through time and space. Whoa, there's something going on over there. I guess it was a motorcycle.
My apologies.
So it's okay. We're recording in various places, trying not to have feedback on the phone.
Janet, just to clear this up, it was a motorcycle. It's not taco night. Okay.
Okay, it was a motorcycle. But I did want to say one thing, is that it's okay to get paid for your time. It's like your people.
Oh, yeah.
I've been doing this therapy stuff and hypnosis and, whatever. And, I give a lot of charity. I don't charge. And I have people that say they don't have money. I said, just donate what you can. But it's my time. And I come into this world and I have X amount of time, right? And I'm going to die and I'm going to spend my time. And I'd like to spend my time, some of my time that I spend I have to do to, keep the lights on. And I'm human and I have to eat, and so anyway, I've learned to not have any problems about getting paid for my time.
Well, sure.
So, sure. Every once in a while I go, hey, you want me to take time out of the day? What can you give me for my time? Because I don't know everybody. I have some friends, but I don't know everybody walking down the street. For somebody to just call you and expect you to drop everything and spend your time with them when you might want to be with, a friend or, well, Sean has a baby, he has to take time with his baby, and he has a fiance and all that good stuff. So, time has value to it. So please, if you're going to, people out there, if you're going to ask a counselor or a therapist or hypnotherapist or whatever, even a psychic or reader or whatever, to take their time, and then please pay them something for their time, and put yourself in their shoes. What would you like to be paid for taking time out of your life to talk to a total stranger? So anyway, okay, let's go. If you have a question that you want to ask each other or all three of us, either of you.
Here goes, Sean. You've been quiet, buddy.
Yeah, Sean.
Just soaking it all in, man.
Yeah.
It's been the last couple of days have been pretty interesting. It's
been going on.
Well, you've had quite a bit of high strangeness. Bluetooth speakers that only last 30 minutes. Stay on for quite some time, like almost 3 days, and then it shuts off, and then you can turn it back on. The first night Eric arrived, I had actually went in my room at it was about 1 a.m., right? I would say about 1 a.m., Eric. All of a sudden I get woken to an alarm, and I'm like, what the hell, right? And, Eric didn't even set the alarm clock on his new phone. So And the funny thing was is the Bluetooth speaker was completely off. So at that point, my hair was standing up, on my back and on my arms, and I was getting really, 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 really frustrated because I had a feeling something was going to happen. I go in my room, usual, lay down, TV's on. Next thing you know, I hear a humming, and this now is around 3 a.m. in the morning. I hear a humming over my side of the house where I sleep in my room. I get up the next morning, I ask Eric about it. Eric said, yeah, I heard something humming. I thought it might have been the refrigerator, but then I looked over and the refrigerator wasn't plugged in.
Who unplugged the refrigerator? That's weird.
No, I have two of them, but the other one was like completely, it's not really a loud refrigerator. It's the new one we have now. It's now plugged in. But, I mean, just weird things. And then I look in the mirror and, I look down and I see these marks. So last couple of days I've been questioning that. I've been, on very high alert. I mean, this stuff goes all the way to the point of, like, we go to the gas station, we leave the gas station, and we get backed into traffic. Guy has military plates. Looks like he's breaking down, right? We turn around, we follow, we see. We go back. He's nowhere to be found. He didn't even come down the hill. All of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, he comes peeling out of the next development across from my development. So
wow.
Yeah, some real high strangeness. But I can tell you this right now, the energy.
We had a weird phenomenon. Let's talk about high strangeness. So you're having high strangeness. I had, the three of us, there's me and Sasha, and we have a helper worker friend that lives on the property because we're old. We need a helper worker friend. And we totally missed a day. We all three thought that Friday was Saturday. Like, all three of us had the whole day missing. And we went, what? No. In fact, he drove all the way out to Paia to the drumming circle, thinking it was Friday. And he was like, wait, there's nobody here. It's like, then he realized, that's the wrong day. But all three of us did the wrong day thing. So, I don't know. Have you had, Eric, high strangeness? I know your whole life.
Yes, I have.
Right, but something recently that's...
Well, recently, yeah. I mean, I got here and, of course, it turned... I didn't even turn my Bluetooth on. I just kind of brought it in to show some things later on in the week. But it went off by itself at 1 o'clock in the morning. It would not turn off for the longest time. I had to disconnect it, and it did. It stayed on for 3 days. I couldn't reconnect with it or anything like that. But, yeah, a lot of times, when your electronics go haywire, I'm sure you're familiar that, it's usually an indication that something's going on. Drop in barometric pressure, high EMF waves, high ULFs, a lot of those things pick up with that, and along with that, it does, it goes along with a lot of speculation, but with my backstory, in the beginning I had a large amount of blackbirds flying into the side of my apartment, and they were breaking their necks and they were dying, and I think you can get on YouTube. Still to this day, it was nationwide news. I had the CDC in front of my house. And, hindsight's 20/20. I was nowhere near as intelligent back then as I am now. Savant syndrome is a long, hard road. And, even looking back then, even if I knew the basics of science, I would say, well, that's an EMF field. All birds really gauge where they fly to according to the electromagnetic field of the Earth. They have their neurons firing all in one direction, and they fly south for the winter. And there wasn't a good explanation for that, but my lights were flickering on and off. My television was turning on by itself and turning off. And MUFON from Little Rock came out. They were sent out from MUFON, Kentucky. And she witnessed it. The batteries were draining. She was trying to interview witnesses all over the neighborhood, and it was very difficult. And of course, this poor woman, she's been studying this in MUFON for 30 years, and she goes, "My God, this is nuts." And of course, my skeptical mind, I'm going, well, my electricity is not working, and I need to hire an electrician. The electrician comes out and says everything's fine. There's nothing wrong with your electricity. And I'm thinking, well, how am I going to get reimbursed by my, by my landlord? Single father, 4 kids, struggling. But it was very difficult times. But, when I hear the word high strangeness, it could be so many different things, from missing time to your electronics acting up, the barometric pressure dropping, and all these things, all these critiques that come with the technology that these other people use.
Great. So let's go back to our stories again. So let's go back in our little time machine. And I've been trying to get Sean's timeline for the longest time here, and I'm bound and determined to get his timeline. Because I feel like with Sean,
just one thing after another.
I want to know, early on, because you indicated, Sean, that you had some things happen in your childhood that your mother, I'm not going to get into it.
No.
Foster mother, whatever, the person who raised you, who's female.
Well.
And then, Eric, you might have some early memories, because most times people that are in this, it started in childhood. I'd say
yes.
It's almost 100%. They may not remember it, but usually they can get it back. Either it's through reflection or what we tend to do early on is dismiss it. Go ahead.
If I can help Sean start his answer, I think it was yesterday morning. I went outside. He was on the porch, coffee and a cigarette in hand, talking to his mother. And I heard his mother saying they were just taking samples from you. And so I kind of sat down, and he had the phone laying down, and I can see her face. And she outright admitted that he had these experiences when he was a child. So I think it was just really good timing for me to walk out and to witness that kind of thing, for Mom to actually, say these things. And she did clam up, which is, it's normal. It's normal. I mean, I've spoken to my mom a couple of years back, and I asked her about some missing time that I had when I was a child, and she broke down and she said, "They took you." And I didn't want to hear that. I wanted to hear that, look, son, you've gone off the deep end. You're paranoid. You may have delusional problems. You may have this. You have that. But I guess she's battled this from a distance and listened to me, do radio and watch the things that I've done over the years. And, she told me, they took you. So naturally, my response would be, here's Mom. She loves, she cares, and she just wants to help out. And it may not be, the truth. Maybe she's just being supportive. And then she started talking about this big orange spherical glowing ball. A lot of people talk about flying saucers as these saucer-shaped metal looking things, and I thought to myself, my God, how could she have known that? So discernibility is very difficult, because not only I mean, yeah, you want to buy it hook, line, and sinker, and everything's great. But no. Let's back up. Hang on, Mom. Are you sure you're doing this out of truth? Are you sure, are you doing this out of love? And I believe on both occasions with myself and my mother, along with, Sean and his mother, because I walked into the conversation that was obviously private, that these things were coming across very sincere. And, I just wanted to, when you asked Sean that question, I wanted you to, for me to put my input in and say, hey, look, I walked in on a conversation that clearly indicated that she was aware that he was having these experiences as a child. So go ahead, Sean. Sorry to butt in, but I wanted to put my 2 cents in on that.
Most definitely. And, it was quite funny because right before Eric walked out, as soon as I met Eric, it was almost like I knew him. Like, it was like a knowing. Like, didn't feel, you would never, like we were talking tonight, oh my goodness, we'll be on radio, we're in the same place, you know what I mean? We're hanging out together. So it's like, I would have never thought that back in 2014. But back when I was younger, now going back, meditating, just closing my eyes, just laying in total silence, listening to different vibrations, frequencies, some of this stuff started to surface. And lo and behold, it's like one trickling thing after the next. My sister contacts me and says, oh, well, yeah, she told me when you were 12 years old, when I was 12 years old, that she remembered communicating with what they call the Greys. And then I find out it's my half sister, and I find out she's a Reiki working in that area, and I'm like, wow, I thought for a second, oh my goodness, she's gonna think I'm crazy, but I mean, the bare minimum, stuff that I couldn't remember, like she remembered when the TW Flight 800 plane went down, and the FBI was questioning her and me, and all of a sudden I got a glimpse, and it was weird. It was like I got a screenshot memory of it. It was totally real. I got really sick to my stomach. But yeah, they were telling me to shut my mouth. They were telling my sister to shut her mouth. Now this woman.
Was it shut down?
Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, absolutely. It was right up the Mauritius Bay in Long Island, New York. And there were Taliban men. There's a couple of people I know that work in that area. A Coast Guard who was also threatened because he caught wind of it. He saw it. But yeah, that's one incident. I've had a few. I had a memory. Okay, this is really scary. So as I'm waking up to this, I'm starting to have these memories. I had a memory, and I was holding my daughter. Whew. And I saw I'm sorry if I curse. I saw the holes in her head. And immediately, it took a little while, but I realized, I just had that funny feeling that was me when I was a baby and I was laying in my bassinet. And there were 4 of them surrounding that bassinet. And I remember them picking me up out of the bassinet. And it was like this bright white light, and it just went. And next thing you know, I'm back. But it's very, 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 very traumatizing because, you know, for like a few days there, I couldn't even pick my daughter up because every time I would look at the side of her head, they were triangular shapes. But I knew what was going on. I at first I didn't know.
What was going on? What happened
to
you?
I was having, what was going on was what I believe was they were trying to make me think it was my daughter that was being messed with.
Right.
But looking back, it was me. So I immediately run in the room, I rip her clothes open, I look for marks, and I start seeing these weird marks on her, and I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, they're messing with my daughter. I called my friend in tears. I mean, they took me, and they experimented on me.
Can we slow down and unpack what happened? What do you remember? Slow down. You moved too fast. You got to make the moment last.
Well, it's because it's all downloaded into my brain.
It's there. It's there. It's very easy to look at it. You're safe
now. It's always going to be there.
You're in the now. You're safe now, and you can look at it, and you can tell us. What did they do?
It just
now, but what did they do?
Well, I remember, like, you know, being on, like, it was like almost like I would say a bench. And being a baby, and laying there, and it almost reminds me of the seating thing with the bubble over, and the aliens surrounding it from the J3 films, and I question, you know, whether or not, you know, every time I like ask for certain things, it's a no. Like, she didn't want me, the woman who raised me, did not want me to have anything, always would put me down, heavily medicated me at such a young age. 3 years old, I was on Ritalin 3 times a day, migraine, headaches. I'd have to go into a dark room. My sister was telling me all about this. And my sister went to the same school I went to, and she claims that she never really seen me while we were in school. Because I was always being brought from room to room to room.
If the ETs were working on you, what was their intention? Did they want to help you? Did they want to hurt you? What were they thinking?
See that I'm still like on the edge of.
What do you think? Just make
because
it up.
Maybe they were here to help me.
Because you said your mother,
you know, I'm straddling the fence
3 times a day, and then.
Yeah, but
cope with all
right,
drugs.
Exactly. But you know, it ruined me. It stunted my growth. You know, I had really no friends. You know, I wasn't allowed to do things. There was always new boyfriends. You know, and my father would always look at me like he wanted to tell me something, and he's no longer here, and it's I'm still straddling the fence with that, if it's good or bad.
What did he want to tell you? What do you think he wanted to tell you?
That I was having, kind of, I can only imagine what he wanted to say.
See, what we know from this research is that it's typical in families. It goes back many generations. It's going to go forward many generations. And the more you can look at this and get comfortable with it, the more, first of all, you're still alive. They haven't killed you. Your daughter's still alive. Your family was still alive. So there was some other purpose, because if they wanted you dead, they would have killed you. So it wasn't death. So,
right.
My grandmother sat there and told me, this is in 1963 or 64, I think it was 64, that, she looked up, she heard a noise, went outside, there's a giant craft above her head, and, they took her up. And so
it's
she
funny
told me
you
that.
say
But
that.
that was back when nobody was having experiences.
Right.
So your mother, probably your birth mother and your raised mother, they probably all of it.
Well, that's also like now I'm having problems with her. It was like yesterday she was all about it, and I mean, to call yourself a mother of a child and then go and say the things that she said to me today is a total narcissist. She's about herself. I know it. I sense it. I don't sense any happiness in her heart. She got very angry when I told her that, why did you lie to me and tell me that your egg was used, and hung up on me when I told her I know the truth.
Well, what is the truth?
Another woman had me for her.
Right.
And now regrets that. And now regrets
Who
it.
regrets it? The woman who had you?
My biological, my actual mother, my birth mother.
No, too late. You're here. Get over it.
Well, yeah, but, she hears all this stuff, and she's like, she bared me for so long, and here I was placed into nothing but a controlled environment. And that's where all my anger
You've been selected. Yeah, you've been selected. They like your DNA. You're part of the program, and they even,
I guess they do. The way they mark me up, absolutely.
They like you. They like you. Yeah.
Every other day I'm waking up with
DNA.
something.
They like your children's DNA. They probably like your siblings' DNA. Eric, don't you find that to be true, that they take families, they like certain DNA? They like certain bloodlines. They like. What do you find in your work, Eric?
They absolutely do, and I've been, I've had a few arguments with some high academic people, valid arguments. I don't like to argue. I'd rather, watch paint dry. I think it's a waste of time, but a valid debate would be that the Rh negative factor is 100% of what we're dealing with. And, the Freed Organization, they have PhDs, academia, out the yin-yang, high credible people. They're saying, no, Eric, listen, we've done a lot of work here, and it's only 86%. Now, look, I understand that. I completely understand that. But what people have to do is a little bit more homework than that. We have a shot right now because, Rh negative factor means we have no Reese's monkey gene. Saying I'm Rh negative. My DNA is very, very strange. But Rh negative was introduced into our populace on a large scale 30,000 years ago, and we have no idea why, along with blue eyes, different colored hair, the whole 9 yards. We have this shot because our two species do not mix. The womb will abort the baby. You have a Rh negative father and a Rh positive mother, chances are the baby's going to be lost. The fetus will be terminated naturally.
Right, unless there's intervention.
Right, and the intervention is right. A basic shot will help you carry the baby to term. There will be postmortem, postpartum, and all those things. But the baby will survive. And a lot of times when you have that shot and you have an Rh negative parent and a Rh positive parent, a lot of the times because of the shot you take on, an Rh positive bloodline, even though you have Rh negative DNA. Mm-hmm. So because of this shot, there's a lot of confusion in academia and everything like that. As far as the bloodlines and all that stuff. But what I find is absolutely beyond equivocation, 100% Rh negative, rhesus negative, genes and blood, depending on the bloodline, because you've got to ask the right questions, guys. You've got to get your elbows dirty, not just your wrists, and ask the right questions and do the best that you can. So even though, that one question was flawed, it's absolutely perfect because it's an integration that that science has done to help people from losing children.
Right. So, and not everybody knows their history. Your parents could be dead. You don't know what was done. So there must be a test or there's adoption. So there must be some kind of blood test we could do if we were to really be scientific about this. With all the experiencers, or at least a large portion of them, and get their genetics done. But right now that's not happening. So,
right. If you want to go a little bit deeper, one thing I've found on a personal level, working with people, is that it's not every single person in that bloodline. It could be grandpa, and a few generations later, it could be great-grandson. It pops up that way, and everybody else is oblivious but the experiencer themselves. And that's one thing I wanted to look at, because when you look at genetics, you see things that way. You see it all the time. Genetics is a very slippery creature, and you've got to crack a lot of books to really try to understand it. But there's a thing called a random nucleotide polymorphism, which means that random things happen within your DNA, and there's things that skip generations. And what I mean by that is demeanor. What I mean by that is the kid with the soft heart, the kid that cries over everything, the kid that wets the bed, the kid that's oversensitive to everything around them emotionally. They tend to be very clingy, over-loving. And these kids in teenage years, they tend to turn into the goth. They turn into, I am the different person. I am the outcast. They feel that way because they love so much when they're young that it hurts them to know how I don't know, harsh the world feels compared to what their nature tells them the world should be. So, yeah, it pushes a lot of them into drugs, into not understanding their life or their family. It pulls them away from everything, and they start to build up these emotional walls.
So this is the Rh negative kids, they're hyper emotional? Is that what you're saying?
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Not all of them.
Yeah.
They have this other factor. What was that called again? Let me write that down. I'm going to look that up. Say that again. What's the second factor they have? Demeanor.
It's demeanor. It's nature of themselves. They seem to skip generations, still be in the Rh negative realm, but still they're born. They are very, very highly sensitive to things around them. Let's call them empaths to cut it really short.
Yeah.
But what you see in the DNA pattern is a random nucleotide polymorphism, which means that things do skip generations, and when it hits, These others, what the government likes to call them, others, are highly attracted to that particular person, that particular gene, that particular demeanor, which means contact. So you're going to have samples taken. You're going to have contact happen. You're going to have a lot of things going on. And, here we are trying to understand that. And I think the most important thing is not the divide and, conquer aspect or the self-policing word that's not even in the diagnosable dictionary is crazy. Nobody wants to be called crazy, so they're so scared to be self-policed by everyone else. No one's ever been diagnosed with crazy or highly medicated on crazy. This is a word that was invented for us to be divided and conquered, just like borders were invented to invent land masses. They're imaginary. They're not real. Crazy is not real. Delusional is real. But it all does come down to, from what I found in my research, boots on the ground, soaking wet, that, I've worked with thousands of people so far. I haven't published my work. I'm not here to be popular. I'm not here to make money. What I am here to do is to find out the truth for myself and for the people that suffer in silence. And that's one important thing, that, yes, you can look at the blood type, but look, guys, there's a demeanor about these people. You never see a true experiencer without a big heart. You don't see it. It does not happen.
That's interesting. George Cavasilis said that, and I agree with him. Cavasilis from Australia. He's been doing this for a long time, like 20 years, maybe 30 years. And he said that they take everybody. It's kind of like they have the resources. They've taken all 6-7 billion of us, and they take us periodically. But then they decide to keep certain ones in the program. So they must test for that sensitivity. Now, when I was a kid, my heart would break, and my dad would hold me, and I would just sob, and my whole body would shake. I was so sensitive, and I thought I was going to die. If I got that level of upset, I really believed, I felt like I was going to just leave my body, and I think he just held me so I would stay, I probably could have left. So I think that you're onto something about this sensitivity, and I think George was saying that they're looking for that. So now my question to you, and based on your research, is now that they've found us, what are they doing? What's their agenda? Is it the breeding program? Is it what do you think is and I know other people call it the metagene. What do you think is the purpose behind identifying this and working with these people?
Well, if you look at genetics, we've had 65 major upgrades in the history of known humanity. And these major upgrades, if you're looking at 2 million base pairs and you have a major upgrade, that means something really, really huge has happened in the human genome. There's no explanation in science for this. There's no explanation in any way, shape, or form other than obvious meddling. And I really think, personally, and I do apologize, sometimes I do speculate, but I do announce a huge speculation sign. Right. Yeah, well, facts are facts, speculation, and I've got to be careful. But my huge speculation is the upgrading of certain human beings. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like an evolutionary pattern that certain people are left out of. Look, experiencers want to change the world. Experiencers want love around them all the time. We look at pollution, we look at all these terrible things, and we're hypersensitive to it. Why? Why exactly do you meet every single one? And yeah, sure, a lot of us are highly guarded, so it just seems like at first when you meet a person, well, they're highly guarded, they seem to be a tough person, and once you find that gooey center, you're like, wow, this person's so sensitive and so emotional and so loving and so caring. But, we all put up those walls for ourselves. So, sometimes first impression is not always what you're looking at when it comes to people like us. And I think you can agree with that, Janet. But, I think that's one major thing that's going on right now is another major upgrade into our evolution. And that's what I definitely see it as, is an evolution. You know, one day, I think we were about maybe a month into the scariest thing in the world. This thing was coming down into our yard. Our neighbors knew about it. The military got involved. The Pentagon got involved. It was nuts. CNN wanted an interview. My whole world was turned upside down. And my son, my 8-year-old kid, sat next to me and he said, "Dad, I think they're like interstellar bees." And I turned and I looked at him. My kids didn't know anything about extraterrestrial. We didn't watch the Sci-Fi Channel. Hey, man, we were total, like, you know, we were DreamWorks buffs. We like Shrek. We like, you know, all those cool stuff.
Right.
We weren't into paranormal. It just wasn't in, you know, my family. And I turned and I looked at him and I said, "What?" And 5 years later, you know, after that, after interviewing people and working with families, and because, you know, it is families. The spouse thinks the wife is crazy, the wife thinks the husband's crazy, and they fight and they argue. It leaks onto the children. The children are upset. They can't do well at school. This is a whole family unit that's falling apart because of this. So,
right.
you know, when you step into these things, you better be ready to go in all the way. And that's just, it's absolutely what you find is that it seems to be moving forward. It seems to be a very negative yet positive thing when it comes to people. A birthing process of nature is profoundly beautiful, but at the same time, it's always painful.
Okay. Wow. Reflections.
I'm sorry. Did I get you rolling your eyes yet?
No, we're not. I don't roll my eyes. I just pause and take it in, and I mean, I'm curious. I'm feeling Sean over there. I feel people. So
yeah.
I'm wanting to honor Sean and invite him back into the conversation. And I think everybody's impressions and reflections are valuable, and we need to, you know, go roundtable on this. So let's pull Sean back in, and do me a favor, Eric. Ask Sean a question to help him go in a direction that might serve this whole panel and the listeners.
Put me on the spot.
Well, you can do it. You know, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator, and I can feel intelligence, right? And I'm challenging you to stretch. Yes, I am. But I know you can do it. This is totally within your ability to do because you're sensitive, and you know Sean. You've met Sean. You breathe the same air, right? I haven't breathed.
Yeah.
There's something about, I mean, we breathe the same air because we're on the earth, but you're in the same room, so you're getting each other's molecules. You're in each other's energy field now, so you have a knowingness about each other on that whole new level. So go ahead. I know.
One thing, yeah, I can do it. One thing I would definitely ask Sean is for him to take a deep breath, close his eyes, real deep breath, you know, and let that thing out very, very slowly, and think that no matter how horrible an abduction might be, no matter how terrible those marks are, no that it breaks you down and ostracizes you and from society and everything like that, what is going to be the outcome through you? Not what happened to you. What is going to be the outcome? What is this going to create inside you? What are you going to splash into this ocean that we call world? Is it going to be negative? Is it going to be positive? You know, feel the fire in your stomach. Feel the fire in your heart. What gets you passionate about this? Is it a negative thing or is it a positive thing? Not abductions, not people from off of this planet. I'm talking about you and who you are, how you are affected, and how you're going to affect the world around you after it's all happened.
Well, it's definitely a work in progress.
But in your soul,
some days.
What I mean, in your soul, because of this happening, are you going to create positivity in the world or negativity?
Oh, positivity.
There you go. There you go. Because you know what? Sometimes the worst things that happen to us are terrible. They're horrible. Perceivably the worst thing you could ever go through. But you know what? These things make you a better person. If you look at a screen with sound on it, you don't hear the sound in the background. You just see the screen. You see the ups and you see the downs. You see the waves and you see the troughs. Because there's up and there's down, and they complete each other. They don't make backs without fronts. That would be some funny-looking people. So the downtimes and times, it matters what we do with our vibration that shows up on that screen called life, and your choice, and your character, and most importantly, your demeanor means that you're going to stomp in, being the guy that you are, that you're going to create positive things. And that's what I see every time I look into the face of this whole thing.
Oh, absolutely. Most definitely. And how we just sit there, and the idea is like just sitting there. Sometimes I'll just be sitting there and talking to Eric, and next thing you know, I'll come up with an idea, and he's like, that sounds like an interesting idea, or, round table, kind of like talking to one another, trying to figure out what can we do to stop this, the disinformation being put out and putting out the actual information, and
that's right.
allowing experiencers to speak, and being there when they need a shoulder to cry on. Because a lot of times people don't realize, it's hard, just to, go to sleep at night sometimes, for instance, because you're sitting there, you're alone, you're by yourself, nobody's there. Some people, their wives left them, they lost their job, they're going insane, they don't know what's going on with them, they're going through these changes. But it's like what we talked about with, another experiencer, how, you just sometimes you gotta pick yourself up and keep going. Because that's what this is. Yeah, when you get knocked down, pick yourself up and keep going. And the number one thing that Eric has taught me is be yourself. You don't have to be someone else. Be yourself.
Amen to that. Amen.
Heart-centered. If you're not heart-centered, then you're not. You're not. It's not there. It's kind of like a dark place. Scary, but at the same time, there's so much more things that I could be doing. Like it goes to like I heard earlier, Eric was talking with my fiance, and he's like, it's like the smallest things, opening the door for an elderly person at the store. If you're all in like a blur and, take a knee, get away from Facebook for a little while, get into nature. We went on a walk in a nature trail, and it was like almost like, that was very interesting. It was like we were walking down this trail, and all of a sudden it felt like, I think I said, oh, it feels like we're in Africa or something. Because it was like the woods just changed. Everything just changed. And there was a lot of frequency that day. It got pretty,
Because you're attuned. It's because you're attuned to natural geomagnetic fields, and a lot of experiencers are sensitive to that. I know a lot of science behind that, but that's going to come out in the future.
Yeah. Definitely an intelligent individual. That's for sure. You know, and you know, it rubs off when you allow it, you know, good things to rub off on you, and then you allow negative things to rub off on you. It's I just try my best to keep the, you know, in the now. I don't try to look into tomorrow or next year or 3 years from now. I try to do it in baby steps, because I'm learning that this process of wake up is, you know, topsy-turvy, I like to call it. It's like, you know, it can be up, it can be down. It can be up, it can be down. But I keep picking myself back up and going at it.
Well said.
And I
want, well said.
Thank you, man. Thank you. You know, you've done a lot of help. You've been a big help.
Yeah, Rock. I mean, hey, Sean, a little bit goes a long way, my friend. You know, it really does. Really
you
does.
Ain't kidding. You ain't kidding. It could be a few sentences. It could be something that happens. Like,
basic
you know, yeah.
You know, but yeah, basic humanity. If people forgot how to be human beings, you know, have we really forgot? Are we that deep into social engineering, social conditioning? I mean, are we that misanthropic into, you know, entertainment that we really believe that's how life is supposed to be, or do we create it ourselves? And there's an unfortunate answer to that. You know, we need to take responsibility for the nature of our own selves. And unfortunately, you know, that's why experiencers are so addicted to nature, because we understand something we don't understand. We want to connect with something that we're no longer, you know, connected to. You know, we built every ecosystem in this world is not destructive other than our own. And we need to get back to that.
Yeah, that's probably why I moved to Hawaii. I had to get into nature. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So have you managed to get into nature now, Sean? Are you in a place that feels more natural?
Yeah, I took Eric out and I showed him an area of nature that I've been in, and it's very, very. There's they call it the Indian. It's an Indian trail. I mean, you know, down in the southern area. I'm over, you know, and going through this and just walking through it and having the conversation that we were having. It was like, wow. It was like a wow moment. It was like I could hear what I couldn't hear before, because of certain things, you know, like meditations and frequencies that Eric worked with me, you know, when he first came. You know, I took a speaker and it was at 450 megahertz, and I put that speaker to my forehead, and it was like, almost like, I kind of started to I'm realigning. Everything is starting to realign in my brain. And, you know, I'm picking up on sounds now. You know, you grow in this as well. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to, you know, just sit in my own crap all the time and be upset because this one said that and that one said that. I can't control what the next person says. I can only control what I say. And if I don't know something, I'm not going to sit there and act like I do.
That's wise.
So.
Very wise.
You ever get the feeling that you just really did the best show ever?
Oh man. It's
yeah. Oh no,
you know,
you know, You know it's good when the host is going to listen to this again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I got a feedback on one of the shows you did, Sean. The person said I listened to it 3 times, so I know this will get listened to again and again. There's something that's happening in these shows with you, Sean.
It's the growth.
And now we have Eric. We have Eric. So this is a magical combination. People are going to want to listen to this. They don't even know why. They're just going to go listen to it.
Yeah, what we do is we're born into this world as natural people, natural human beings, but we're raised by people that don't even know what that means anymore. And just because mom and dad don't know about that, they were taught something totally different. I mean, our nature is completely taken away from us at very birth. And schooling doesn't help because the best regurgitator wins, the right brainer is the loser, the C student, and these are the people that cultivate the best music, the best art, the best acting, the best everything that we enjoy. We work 40 to 60 hours a week just to enjoy a right brainer's creativity, yet we shun them in school as if they were, the worst thing in the world. So, I think that us being taught that we're not supposed to be ourselves needs to be untaught somewhere in our adult life in order to be free, in order to be extensively ourselves, to shake the world the way that we have the ability to do, to wake up and to show a heart that cannot be hurt, that cannot be destroyed, that will always share, that will always love, that will always give, and never be scorned by this idea of supposed to be. I'm a tree hugger. I'll hug a tree. I'll do it because,
tree hugger.
Yeah, because the damn thing knows what's supposed to be. And let me tell you, it sat around with a bunch of seeds one time, and it looked around at all these grass seeds, and he looked too fat, and he had a funny hat on, and everybody called him a nut. And he wanted to be a grass seed. But he had a funny hat, and everybody called him a nut. But guess what? One day he became a mighty oak, and he shaded everyone from what they became of themselves. And I think there's a lesson to be learned in nature. Everywhere you look, you look at the Buddha, you look at all the lessons that you could possibly learn. And we are not that, and our true nature is something that we need to learn after we unlearn everything that we were taught growing up. You are essentially you because you're supposed to be that. Made fun of, why? Why is that a thing? Why should anyone be made fun of for what they are? Too skinny, too fat, too small, too heavy. Hey, maybe you got one eye looking one direction and one eye looking the other. None of it's an accident. The only accident you could ever make is accidentally choosing not to be who you are, and really reciprocating what that is and giving it to the world, because that's what you are, a gift. And if you don't realize that you're a gift, that you're not a narcissistic way, but in a special, quirky, screwed up, dorky way that bumps into walls that says, I can make a difference in the world. That's what I'm here for. You look at everything. You should look at everything as a very, very unique, amazing thing, no matter what it is. Children do this before they're taught it's wrong.
Right. Well, I agree with you. We've been taught to regurgitate things, and those are the ones that end up with the good grades and the PhD pile, higher, deeper. But you can always re-educate yourself. That's the programming that goes into us when we're young. We have our cultural conditioning and religious programming and our family of origin programming, and then people that have experiences have experiencers programming, and people have MyLabs and super souls. We all have our programming. And then there's a point where you decide that I'm not my programming, I'm me. And the me that I am is and you can find yourself. And I invite you to, everybody listening out there.
Yeah.
Find out who you really are. It's time to discover your true self.
Yeah, I think one of the last talks I did publicly is, forget about the lights in the sky if you have no idea what the light in your heart means.
Well, when I met Dr. Lessin, I was struggling. I had been told I had lung disease and I had about 6 months to live. And I ran away from everybody I knew in Pennsylvania. I didn't own a diagnosis. I knew on some level that a part of me could buy that and fulfill that prophecy, and the other part could choose life. So I chose life, and I defied everybody I knew and all the shoulds and all the programming, and I flew across the planet, left my husband, left my parents, left my siblings, left all my friends and families and my job and everything. And and when I landed in Oahu, and for the first time, I was me. And I wasn't defined as, so-and-so's wife or so-and-so's daughter or, whatever labels. And oh, my God, I probably floated down the streets of Honolulu when I was finding me. And then I was in the adventure. I didn't need to know all the answers. I was on the journey, and wherever it was going to take me was perfect. And so that was it was 1993. I left everybody I knew, and I set out to find myself. I would have died in 1993. So that I've got, 26 years of extra living by saying no to all the shoulds and just getting out of there. So I know, Eric, that you just did a major change in your life, and I know when it's happening, it's like, oh, my God, what am I doing? But I'll tell you what, it's probably really perfect, exactly how it came about.
Yeah.
All the needles and pins and pains and aches and it's only hindsight 2020. And Sean, you're young. When you're my age, I'm 65, rapidly approaching 66. When you're my age, you're going to look back at this whole journey and go, oh, I must have been so smart on some divine level because it was absolutely perfect.
Wise words, my
right.
friend. Very wise words. Wise words. Every blessing is a lesson, and every lesson is a blessing. And
right.
You're so right about that. We get caught up in poor little me and hard times, and it's essential for growth. But if you don't feel pain, you don't grow. And I'll tell you what, I have definitely seen a decent share of that.
Yeah, well, it's a huge growth spurt, yeah. And I've been working with ETs for 65 years, plus before I came in. These guys, they love you. Sean, they love you. I know you're scared of them, but they love you. Somehow, look beyond that, and see the divine love, and you'll get it. You'll laugh. Mark my words. You will laugh at how you reacted. You will go, oh, now I get it. Now I get it. And Eric and I have worked with all these experiencers, and a lot of it's what you put out. You get what you give, right? So if you have a fear-based life, negativity causes negativity. So if you have a fear-based life and you're paranoid and all the negative emotions, you're going to develop heart disease, cancers, everything, right? It's just law of attraction action. So
I've been split. I've been split open like a fish. I've been mutilated. I've had doctors with their jaw on the floor, and at the same time, I've had contact where my soul cried, and the only evidence of that was just moisture in my eyes. So there's a wide array of so many different things, but it doesn't really matter because it is, at the end of the day, it's your choice on what you do with the knowledge, and what you do as a person, what you do with integrity, what you do, with your morals and your values and what you hold decent and dear. to what your foundation is as a human being. And as long as that could be bought and sold and paid for and tossed around just to achieve a minor thing that may not even be real, you'll always have ufology acting the way that they are. You'll always have people acting out of ego. You'll always have those kinds of things, which I ignore, because we should all ignore those, because they're lessons that those people have to learn. Not you and I. Those people have to learn those lessons. And if they get stuck in them, they become lessons as well. And I highly invite you to learn those lessons, feel that pain, have that growth, and teach the world what integrity is all about.
I agree. Yeah. So I have a mantra, and I learned it from Jesus. And I'm not like Christian or anything, but it's like, forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. And I was like, so, I just look at them like, okay, that's their lesson. That's what they need to learn. And I don't try to fix or repair, anybody. They ain't broken. They're just learning. They're like toddlers that are learning how to walk, and of course they're going to fall, they're going to make mistakes, but most times the toddler will learn how to walk. So, if I can't take it, I run away, because it's not my role to teach them, right? And I don't have to.
I know.
I don't have
to. My younger days, I used to try to fix everybody. That'll it'll catch up with you.
Right. Yeah, it's really hard to realize they're not broken.
No, they're perfect.
They're perfect. It's just you're trying to fix something within yourself, and you're projecting. Oh no, I'm projecting. Okay.
Yeah, it becomes a maze.
Yeah. Well, we're running out of show. Believe it or not, we've chewed up almost 2 hours. So let's focus on wrapping this up. What are the things that you want our listeners to know about you, about the work, about anything? What do you want our listeners to know?
Why don't you take that away, Sean?
Just know that you're not the only one out there. That there are people that are dealing with similar, experiences, whether it be my lab, ET contact, rape, whatever it is, there's always somebody out there. I'm all open ears. You could, contact me at my Facebook. My phone is always on. Even if you just want to call and talk, and I'm here. Because I've been taught, once you learn something, you pass it on. And always remember, it's not the big things, it's the smallest things that count.
Wise words. Very wise words.
And what would you like our listeners to know? Oh, how will they contact you, Sean?
Sean Fowler on Facebook, yep.
And that's, your Sean is spelled how?
It's S-E-A-N, Fowler, spelled F-O-W-L-E-R.
Great. Okay. What would you like to say? Are you finished? Are you complete, Sean?
Yes.
Okay. On to you, Eric.
Spotlight again. What would I like to say?
Get used to it.
Yeah, I know. Yes, principal. No, I mean, I think the show went really great, and I would like for people to at least flirt with the idea or pretend that they have gotten away from this social conditioning, the social engineering that they live under, the importance of looks, the importance of sports, all these things that keep us distracted from what a heartbeat means, what love truly means, what connection truly means. And we're so separated and we're so distanced from it, that it's just a catastrophic world within one heart that beats at the same time, and that is us. That is we. You look at a person, that is you. You are no separate, different. Our differences are an idea that need to go away. So, in essence, I would like to say that people need to be waking up tomorrow with an idea in their minds to be more helpful, more loving, more caring. Show little things. They are big things. Just like Sean said, be decent. Don't judge. You're not above anybody and you're not below anyone. We're here together to figure this whole thing out. And if we don't, we're going to be in a lot of trouble. And I think we're seeing a lot of signs of that right now. And sometimes we just need to stop, find the better perspective, find the better, part of ourselves that is so distracted all the time, and learn to be yourself. Learn to beat that heart, just like you shine the sun. There is no difference. You are that.
So, do you have a website?
No, I don't.
You don't.
I don't advertise.
We'll have to. Okay.
Yeah.
Somewhere down the line. You're going to have your bio up on this website, and so anybody wants to get, you can, if you have, maybe what we should do is put your, I guess your Facebook up on the website or something.
Sure.
So we'll fix that so people can go on aquarianradio.com and find you. And then, are you going to be presenting at a conference? Or something in the next?
I just got done with one. I will be doing one in February. But various organizations usually send people my direction. So I haven't felt the need to really advertise or anything like that.
Okay, well, that's fine. If it's meant to be, they will find you. Usually I get emails.
Exactly.
So, I don't give out contact information, people, if you contact me, but I may be able to forward an email or two to somebody, and then it's up to them to get. I never give out information unless somebody expresses it, put it on the website. So just to let you know. Well, I had fun, and I'm really appreciative that you both came on today and shared the afternoon with me, and I'm really glad that we were able to talk to listeners out there, and this will be going up on 10 to 20 platforms and end up on YouTube. So do take the link and spread it around, spread the good word, and let's be heard and create a better paradigm for each and every one of us. Yeah, I think spreading the love works. So I'm going to play our exit music, and I'll be broadcasting again tomorrow with Marilyn Hughes, and we're going to be talking about out-of-body travel and remote viewing. So thank you so much for joining us, and I'm playing my music. Here we go. Aloha.
Have a great night, Janet.
Great night.
Yeah, everybody have a great night.